Jamuna tera vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tera Vanachari. Jamuna Tera. Jamuna Tera Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Vishnupad Paramhamsa Pariviraj Kacharya Stodharshita Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Vishnupad Paramhamsa Pariviraj Kacharya Stodharshita Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavarind Ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रजमु वृंदावन धाम की नवद्वीप धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय भक्ति देवी की युगधर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we're reading from Canto 5, Chapter 22 onwards. So we'll see text 1. Since it's a prose, so need not repeat the shloka. I'll just read. Rajo Vacha Yad Etat Bhagavata Adishyasa Merum Dhruvam Cha Pradakshinena Parikramato Rashinam Avimukham Prachalatim Cha Pradakshinam Bhagavato Parivarnitam Amushyavayan Katham Anumi Mi Hatiti. Word meanings. Raja Uvacha, the king, Maharaj Parikshit, inquired, Yet, which, Etat, this, Bhagavataha, of the most powerful, Adityasya, of the sun, Surya Narayana. Merum, the mountain known as Sumeru. Dhruvam, Dhruvam Cha, as well as the planet known as Dhruvaloka. Pradakshinena, by placing on the right. Parikramataha, which is going around. Rashina, the different signs of the zodiac. Abhimukham, facing toward. Prachalitam, moving. Cha, and. Apradakshinam, placing on the left. Bhagavata, by your lordship. Upavarnitam, describe. Amushya, of that. Vayam, we, the hearer. Katam, how. Anu, me, mahi, can accept it by argument and inference. Iti, thus. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. King Parikshit inquired from Shukadeva Goswami, my dear Lord, you have already affirmed the truth that the supremely powerful Sun God travels around Dhruvaloka with both Dhruvaloka and Mount Sumeru on his right. Yet at the same time, the Sun God faces the signs of the zodiac and keeps Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on his left. How can we reasonably accept that the Sun God proceeds with Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on both his left and right simultaneously? Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatam vande Shri Guru Vinata. Hare Krishna. Welcome for our daily Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, so of course this is known as Amala Purana, where only pure devotional topics are discussed over here. But in this Bhagavatam also there are some topics, some sections which are quite difficult to understand. That is what we are dealing with, Vedic cosmology. So this fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the past few chapters and this particular chapter also. So I tried my best to understand, but not fully. So whatever I could understand, I'll just try to present. So this particular chapter, all the 17 verses in just a small summary. So meanwhile, some the photos which I've shared that can be shown. So what is the link between previous chapter and this particular chapter, the first verse? So in the previous chapter, 8th verse, so Shukadeva Goswami mentioned that the sun travels. So the previous chapter is about the movements of the sun. So in that 8th verse, Shukadeva Goswami mentions that so sun travels in a clockwise direction, but also appears to be traveling in anti-clockwise through the zodiac signs. Now Parikshit is asking that question, 8th verse. So how to believe this? How to accept this? Sun is rotating clockwise also and anti-clockwise also. How to understand this? So for this, that is a question asked in the first verse of this particular chapter. And Shukadeva Goswami starts answering in the second sloka. So where he says, Shri Shukadeva Goswami clearly answered. When a potter's wheel is moving and small ants located on that big wheel are moving with it, one can see that their motion is different from that of the wheel because they appear sometimes on one part of the wheel and sometimes on another. Similarly, the signs and constellations with Sumeru and Dhruvaloka on their right move with the wheel of time, and the ant-like sun and other planets move with them. The sun and planets, however, are seen in different signs and constellations at different times. This indicates that their motion is different from that of the zodiac and the wheel of time itself. So Shukadeva Goswami is giving an analogy of a potter's wheel. So we know that how a potter makes that pot using that wheel. So he's giving that analogy to understand. So the wheel is moving, and on the wheel there are ants, so which are trying to move in a different direction. So that is analogy given. It appears to be anti-clockwise, but actually they are moving in the clockwise direction. But the ants are moving in the reverse direction. So that is analogy is giving to understand that sun is also similar like that ant. Appears to be moving in a anti-clockwise direction. So here it gives more understanding for this. So it's quite difficult to understand complex subject matter. So we'll try our best to understand. Even if you're not understanding, no problem. So you have to come to that understanding that we cannot understand Krishna. Not understanding Krishna means not his material energy cosmic cosmology also. So the sun moves from east to west in the sky from our point of view. But in relation to the zodiac and other stars, the sun appears to move from Aries to Taurus. You can show that picture. No, that picture. So you can see, I can zoom it. So here the sun appears to move from Aries to Taurus. So in our language, Mesha Rasi to Vrishabha Rasi. These are the 12. So this is a time wheel which is mentioned. So sun moves from Mesha to Vrishabha and to other signs in the opposite direction. Thus the sun, moon and other luminaries move in a clockwise direction on daily basis. But with respect to the time wheel, they move in a counterclockwise direction and seems to be entering different zodiac signs at different times. The sun is moving in one direction and this time wheel is moving in the other direction. So while moving, the sun enters each one of the zodiac sign. And next to verse 3. So the original cause of the cosmic manifestation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana. When great saintly persons fully aware of the Vedic knowledge offered prayers to the Supreme Person, he descended to this material world in the form of the sun to benefit all the planets and purify fruitive activities. He divided himself into 12 parts and created seasonal forms, beginning with the spring. In this way, he created the seasonal qualities such as heat, cold, and so on. So to maintain this universe, so sages prayed for the Lord, and Lord appeared, and he manifested in the form of time. And he divided himself into 12 parts. So these are the 12 parts in the picture we have seen. and created seasonal forms. So beginning with spring. So there are 12 seasons which 12 months or 12 rasis. So sun enters each and every rasi in one month. And 2 months is equal to one season. So now how we have spring season, summer, monsoon, autumn, pre-winter and winter. So in this way it is divided. In other words, Sanskrit or Telugu, we have called it as Rutu. Vasant Rutu, Grishma Rutu, Varsha Rutu, Sharad Rutu, Hemant Rutu or Shishir Rutu. These are 6 seasons in which Krishna divided. Text 4. So according to the system of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas, people generally worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana, who is situated as the Sun God or Surya Narayana. So with a great faith, they worship the Supreme Personality as the Super Soul according to ritualistic ceremonies handed down in the three Vedas, such as Agnihotra and similar higher and lower fruitive activities. And according to the process of mystic yoga, in this way, they very easily attain the ultimate goal of life. So now Lord appeared. So how people worship the Lord is described here. Text 1. The sun god who is Narayan or Vishnu, the soul of all the worlds, is situated in outer space between the upper and lower portions of the universe. So this is the position of the sun. Passing through 12 months on the wheel of time, the sun comes in touch with the 12 different signs of the zodiac and assumes 12 different names according to those signs. So you can see here. So the same thing is mentioned here. The sun goes through the 12 signs of the zodiac sign. So the aggregate of those 12 months is called Samvatsara. So 12 months are there. So if we come in together, it's called Samvatsara or an year or an entire year. So according to the lunar calculations, 2 fortnights, one of the waxing moon and of the waning, form 1 month. The same period is 1 day and night for the planet Pitruloka. According to stellar calculations, a month equals to 2 and 1/4 constellations. When the sun travels for 2 months, a season passes, and therefore the seasonal changes are considered parts of the body of the year. So 1 month is equal to 2 fortnights, that is 15 days. Amavasya to Paurnami, Paurnami to Amavasya. And that is called 1 month. Or the time for the sun to cover 2.25 cancellation is a day. So now he is giving a calculation or the relationship between the Pitruloka and this system, planetary system. So when sun covers 2.25 constellations, that is 2 months and a quarter of a month, and that is equal to 1 day and night of Pitris. So these 2 months constitute a season. So this is in the 5th verse described. Now go to 6th verse. Thus the time the sun takes to rotate through half of quarter space is called an ayana, or its period of movement in the north or in the south. This is called northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. Dakshanayana, Uttarayana. So the 6 months is known as ayana. Seventh verse. The sun god has 3 speeds: slow, fast, and moderate. The time he takes to travel entirely around the spheres of heaven, earth, and space at these 3 speeds is referred to by learned scholars by the 5 names Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, and Vatsara. So when sun travels in these various speeds in the space, so it is named as the time period Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, and Vatsara. Next, text 8. Above the rays of the sunshine, by a distance of 1 lakh yojanas. So 1 yojana is equal to 8 miles. So that is 8 lakh miles is the moon, which travels at a speed faster than that of the sun. In 2 lunar fortnights, the moon travels through the equivalent of a samvatsara of the sun. In 2 1/4 days, it passes through a month of the sun, and in one day it passes through the fortnight of the sun. It's so in the purport Prabhupada is writing. So when we take into account the moon is 1 lakh yojanas or 8 lakh miles above the rays of the sunshine, it is very surprising that the modern excursions to the moon cloud be possible. Since the moon is so distant, how space vehicles could go there is a doubtful mystery. Modern scientific calculations are subject to one change after another, and therefore they are uncertain. We have to accept the calculations of the Vedic literature. These Vedic calculations are steady. The astronomical calculations made long ago and recorded in the Vedic literature are correct even now. Whether the Vedic calculations are modern ones or better may remain a mystery for others. But as far as we are concerned, we accept the Vedic calculations to be correct. So clear description is given. So what is the distance? So sun comes first. So beyond the sun rays, that is sun, beyond 1 lakh yojanas apart, there is moon. So if you want to go to the moon, one has to cross through the sun. So if anyone goes to the sun first, there only they'll be burnt. So this the question arises: how the modern scientists are proclaiming themselves they are going to moon. So this statement proves what these people are telling is completely false. But still, the modern students may get a doubt how to accept this. People are showing in the TV, newspapers everywhere. So this the point comes, the faith. And in another session also you have seen. So a human being has 4 defects. Can you name? Cheating propensity, illusion, imperfect senses, committing mistakes. So every living entity has these 4 defects. So when a living entity, especially a human being, has these 4 defects, the knowledge what he is giving cannot be taken as perfect. Then what knowledge to be taken as perfect? That is Vedic knowledge. Why? Because this Vedic knowledge is given by Krishna, who is beyond these 4 defects. So that's why you should have complete faith on the Vedic scriptures. Sometimes these things may go beyond our mental speculation also. So we have to come to that level, we cannot understand these things. And we have to accept as it is. Since it is given by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond these mistakes or the defects. So if one is not having this complete faith or having some doubts on the Vedic scriptures, so what is his destination? What happens to him? So Krishna describes in a couple of verses in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So he tells in 4th chapter, verse number 40. So he's talking about the doubts or faith. Agyascha shraddhadanascha samshayatma vinashyati nayam lokosti na paro na sukam samshayatmanaha. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures. So what happens to them? They cannot come to God consciousness. They cannot attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. So first thing, you cannot come to God, Krishna consciousness, and will not have happiness in this life also, in the next life also. So one should have full faith on the scriptures. And next, in other words, he says, 9th chapter, verse number 3, Bhagavad Gita. Similar. Ashraddadana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. So he's telling those who are not faithful in the devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of the enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. So they'll be stuck in the cycle of birth and death again and again, again and again. So they cannot come to Krishna consciousness. They cannot break the cycle of birth and death. So this is what Prabhupada wants to establish the point over here. So scientists didn't go to the moon planet. So this way one should have this on the scriptures. Text 9. When the moon is waxing, the illuminating portions of it increase daily, thus creating day for the demigods and night for the pitas. So when the moon is waning, however, it causes night for the demigods and day for the pitas. In this way, the moon passes through each constellation of stars in 30 muhurtas, an entire day. So from here, we can see the movements of the moon from verse number 8 onwards. The moon is the source of nectarian coolness that influences the growth of food grains, and therefore the moon god is considered the life of all living entities. He is consequently called Jiva, the chief living within the universe. So the moon is situated 0.1 million yojanas above the sun and travels at the speed faster than that of the sun. So when we measure it with respect to the zodiac, it covers the sun's years in 2 fortnights, its month in 2.5 days, and its fortnight in 1 day. So in this way, the moon moves even more faster than the sun planet. So during the waxing period of the moon, so it creates a day for the pitas and the night for the demigods, devatas, and the opposite, vice versa, it happens. Text 10. So because the moon is full of all potentialities, it represents the influence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The moon is the predominating deity of everyone's mind, and therefore the moon god is called Manomaya. He is also called Annamaya because he gives potency to all herbs and planets, and is called Amritamaya because he is the source of life for all living entities. The moon pleases the demigods, pitas, human beings, animals, birds, reptiles, trees, planets, and all other living entities. Everyone is satisfied by the presence of the moon. Therefore, the moon is called Sarvamaya. So, since his predominant deity of everyone's mind is known as Manomaya, and he gives the potency to all herbs and plants. So that's why he is known as Annamaya, and is source for all the living entities, and it's called Amritamaya. Since he pleases all the living entities, he is known as Sarvamaya. Now from 11 to 17th verses. So there is a discussion about the stars which are above the moon. So which you start here able to see. So those are above the moon. So we can understand the distance between sun and the moon now. So beyond the moon, there are other stars. So what is their distance? How far they are? So that is a description given from verse number 11. Text 11. So there are many stars located 2 lakh yojanas, that is 16 lakh miles above the moon. By the supreme will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are fixed to the wheel of time. And thus they rotate with Mount Sumeru on the right, their motion being different from that of the sun. So there are 28 important stars headed by Abhijit. So 28 stars which are important, which we see in our astrological chart also. And 12 rasis in that time of Vilvesi. Text 1. Some 16 lakh miles above this group of stars is the planet Venus. So now the planets are described. Venus or Shukra, which moves at almost exactly the same pace as the sun according to swift, slow, and moderate movements. Sometimes Venus moves behind the sun, sometimes in front of the sun, and sometimes along with it. Venus nullifies the influence of planets that are obstacles to rainfall. Consequently, its presence causes rainfall, and it is therefore considered very favorable for all living beings within the universe. So this has been accepted by learned scholars. Basically, it's an auspicious planet given. And next, in 13th verse is described as Buddha planet, that is Mercury. Mercury is described to be similar to Venus in that it moves sometimes behind the sun, sometimes in front of the sun, and sometimes along with it. So all the 3 planets, Sun, Buddha, that is Mercury, and Venus, have the similar speeds. So it is 16 lakh miles above the Venus. So what is the distance of Venus from the sun, from the moon, from the stars? So from the moon, 2 lakh yojanas above are the stars. From the stars above. So from the stars, 16 lakh miles above are the stars. So above the stars, these planets come. That is Mercury, Venus. In 13 verse, Mercury is described to me similar to Venus. So this is the speed with this. It is 16 lakh miles above the Venus, or 72 lakh miles above the Earth. So it's a relation. The earthly distance is also given. From Earth, it is 72 miles above. Mercury, which is the sun of the moon, is almost always very auspicious for the inhabitants of the universe. Buddha, this planet is quite auspicious. But when it does not move along with the sun, it forbids cyclones, dust, irregular rainfall, and waterless clouds. In this way, it creates fearful conditions due to inadequate or excessive rainfall. So if it is not moving along with the sun, it also causes destruction. 14th. So it describes the Mars or Angaraka or Kuja Graha. Situated 16 lakh miles above Mercury or 88 miles above the Earth is the planet Mars. If this planet does not travel in the crooked way, it crosses through each sign of the zodiac in 3 fortnights, and in this way travels through all 12, one after the other. It almost always creates unfavorable conditions in respect to rainfall and other influences. So this Kuja Graha is described little unfavorable, inauspicious. And next in the 15th verse is about Brihaspati or Jupiter. So situated 16 lakh miles above the Mars or 1.4 crore miles above the Earth is the planet Jupiter, which travels through one sign of the zodiac within the period of Parivatsara. If its movement is not curved, the planet Jupiter is very favorable to the Brahmanas of the universe. And next is described about Shani Graha or Saturn. Situated 16 lakh miles above the Jupiter or 1.2 crore miles above the Earth is the planet Saturn, which passes through the one sign of the zodiac in 30 months and covers the entire zodiac circle in 30 Anuvatsaras. This planet is always very inauspicious for the universal situation. So this is what general people also think, and it's mentioned correct here. So final text 17. So translation. So situated 88 lakh miles above Saturn or 2.8 crore miles above the Earth are the 7 saintly sages who are always thinking of the well-being of the inhabitants of the universe. Sapta Rishis are above the Saturn planet also, beyond this. So they circumambulate the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu known as Dhruvaloka, the pole star. Srila Madhvacharya quotes the following words from Brahmanda Purana. Jnanandatmana Vishnuhu Shishumara Vapushyata Urdvalokeshu sa vyapta Adityadas tat ashrita. Lord Vishnu, who is the source of knowledge and transcendental bliss, has assumed the form of a Shishumara in the 7th heaven, which is situated in the topmost level of the universe. All the other planets, beginning with the sun, exist under the shelter of the Shishumara planetary system. So Shishumara means Shishumara means dolphin. In the next chapter, it is described. So you can just see the table. Show the table. So it is a respective distances given from the sun, from the earth. So Dhruvaloka is 1.3 miles, yojanas, million yojanas above. With respect to the sun and earth, it's given. So you can see Saptarishis, Shaneshwara, Brihaspati, all this. You can go through this table. So for proper calculations, if you're confused with the translations. So thus ends the chapter, 2nd chapter, 22nd chapter, the orbits of the planets. So next we'll go to 23rd chapter. Text 1. Shukadeva Goswami continued. My dear king, 13 lakh yojanas, 1.4, 104,000,000 miles. So you can count. Above the planets of the 7 sages. So we can see 7 sages, that Saprishas are the highest. So above that is the pole star Dhruvaloka. Seven sages is a place that learned scholars describe as the abode of Lord Vishnu. There, the son of Maharaj Uttanapad, the great devotee Maharaj Dhruva, still resides as the life source of all living entities who live until the end of the creation. Agni, Indra, Prajapati, Kashyapa, and Dharma all assemble there to offer him honor and respectful obeisances. They circumambulate him with their right sides towards him. I have already described the glorious activities of Maharaj Dhruva in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So basically, in the initial few verses of this chapter, so the glories of this Dhruvaloka is mentioned. Second verse, established by the supreme will of the Supreme Personality Godhead, the pole star, so which is the planet of Maharaj Dhruva, constantly shines as the central pivot for all the stars and the planets. The unsleeping, invisible, most powerful time factor causes these luminaries to revolve around the pole star without cessation. So you can see third verse translation also. So how it moves. When bulls are yoked together and tied to a central post to thresh rice, they tread around the pivot without deviating from their proper positions. One bull is being closest to the post, another in the middle, and the third on the outside. Similarly, all the planets and all the hundreds and thousands of stars revolve around the pole star, the planet of Maharaj Dhruva, in their respective orbits, some higher and some lower. So, fastened by the Supreme Personality Godhead to the machine of material nature, according to the results of their future activities, they are driven around the pole star by the wind and will continue to be so until the end of creation. So, these planets float in the air within the vast sky, just as clouds with hundreds of tons of water float in the air, or as the great Shayana eagles, due to the result of past activities, fly high in the sky and have no chance of falling to the ground. So you can show that picture, that pivot. So this is how the pole star is on the top. So all the stars, all the planets revolve like this around the Dhruvaloka. And Dhruvaloka is the top. The dolphin, you can see. So more description about the dolphin in the future verses it will be given. So Dhruvaloka is at the tip or the back of the tail. So you can show that a picture with the bully books. So in this way, analogy is given. So the pole star is in between, all rotating around, all the other stars. Everything. So you can see the chandelier also chandelier. So that is another analogy given. Now let's go to the purport second verse of this. So we'll have little description or discussion about this. So why this position is given to the pole star or Dhruva Maharaj? So Prabhupada is writing the purport. It is distinctly stated herein that all the luminaries, the planets and stars revolve by the influence of the supreme time factor. The time factor is another feature of the Supreme Personality Godhead. Everyone is under the influence of the time factor. But the Supreme Personality Godhead is so kind and loves his devotee Maharaj Dhruva so much that he has placed all the luminaries under the control of Dhruva's planet and has arranged for the time factor to work under him or with his cooperation. Everything is actually done according to the will and direction of the Supreme Personality Godhead. But to make his devotees Dhruva the most important individual within the universe, the Lord has placed the activities of the time factor under his control. So basically, Prabhupada is also mentioning in these words that Krishna is the Supreme Personality God. Under him, everything is working. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam hetunaneva kaunteya jagat viparivartate. The whole material nature is working under the direction of Krishna. So this material nature is like a machine. So behind every machine there is working. So we see that some machine is there. And if it is nicely working, we cannot just blindly believe it. So it's working very nicely. And how it manifested? Just like that. No. So behind everything, there is a brain, super brain behind it. So behind this nature, there is a supreme brain, that is Krishna. So under the direction of Krishna, this material nature is working. And this material nature, there are many, many great personalities like demigods. So even these great demigods are also under the direction of Krishna. And in the whole, these planets with the material, the demigods, so Surya Dev is known as the highest, as mentioned. Even this Surya Dev is also serving the Lord under the direction of the Lord. So that is what even in Brahma says in Brahma Samhita. Yachakshuresha savita sakala grahana raja samasta suramurti mashesha teja yasya gaya brahmati sambramat kala chakro govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. The sun god, he is also under the control of the Lord, and who is considered to be the eye of the Lord, rotates within the fixed orbit of eternal time. And this sun is the king of all planetary systems. So he is the king of all the planetary systems. He is also serving the Lord. He is also worshipping the Lord. So if even these great personalities are under the control of Krishna, but how here Prabhupada writes, he has given this control of all these planets to Dhruva Maharaj. And Dhruva Maharaj is another devotee, as a living entity, let's speak. A small boy, so when he was 5 years. So how he got this great position? Or how Lord is pleased to give Dhruva Maharaj such a great position, even all the great planetary systems are surrounding him or doing production about him. So why? So let's have a little more discussion about this. So about Dhruva Maharaj is given in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam from chapter 8 onwards. So who is Dhruva Maharaj? Son of Uttanapad. Who is Uttanapad? Okay. Yes. Uttanapad is the son of Manu, Swayambhu. And Swayambhu Manu is the son of Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma is Haribol. Then what are we? We are also son of Krishna, of course. So from Garbhodaksha Vishnu, so Brahma is directly coming. So you can see very close relationship. So there's only few generations left between the Lord and Dhruva Maharaj. So one day what happened? So Uttanapad is there. So Uttanapad has 2 wives, Suniti and Surichi. And Suniti's son name is Dhruva Maharaj. Surichi's son name is Uttama. So one day what happened? So Uttanapad, so he was making his son, the second son, that is Uttama, making him sit on his lap and is patting him, having a nice time with him. So at that time, Dhruva Maharaj also came. So my father is there. I also want to sit on my father's lap like him. So when he was about to climb up the lap of his father, then his stepmother came, Surichi, and make him come down and go away. So then she spoke very, very strong words to Dhruva Maharaj, which pierced his heart like arrows. So she told, hey Dhruva, in a normal way. So you cannot sit on the lap of your father. So this kingdom does not belong to you because you have not taken the birth in my womb. If at all you want to get this position, if you want to sit on the lap of your father, or if you want to sit on the throne of this simhasana or this kingdom, so you should take birth from my womb, and then you will be given that chance. But for this, you have to get the mercy of the Lord first. So basically, you have to die, get the mercy of the Lord, and take birth from my womb, and then you can take this position. So after hearing this, and he's a Kshatriya, even though he's a 5-year-old boy, Kshatriya is Kshatriya, his blood started boiling. So with angry mood, so description is given. He's biting his lips also. So this angry mood, he went to his mother, Suniti. And Suniti got to know from other servants of the palace that what happened. And she started pacifying. And she's also, after hearing this, she also started crying. And she started speaking to Dhruva. Oh Dhruva, what to do? Your father doesn't like me. And your unfortunate situation is you taken birth from my womb. So I cannot do anything. I cannot mitigate your distress. I cannot mitigate. So whatever your stepmother told is correct. So if at all you want to get that place that throne. So you have to take birth again. So for that, you have to get the mercy of the Lord. So this is the point she was mentioning. You have to get the mercy of the Lord. So she suggested, Dhruva, please go to the forest and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And before that, so Dhruva Maharaj put his desire that I want to get a greater kingdom, which is beyond, greater than my great grandfather, that is Brahma. So he has that strong desire to attain it. And his mother directed him to go to the forest and worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu, so that he can get all the desires fulfilled, whatever he wants. So, a nice lesson. So, Prabhupada writes in the purport. So, every mother should be like this, should encourage their children to go to the ISKCON temples and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Join the Brahmacharya ashram. Become full-time devotees, dedicated lives. So, every mother should be like this. But unfortunate situation, it's not possible in Kali Yuga. So one time Prabhupada is personally explaining. So he went to a parent. So they have 4 children. And Prabhupada asked, you have 4 children. Give one son to me. I'll make him Brahmana. And the parent rejected, Brahmana? By becoming a Brahmana, what you'll do? Swamiji, no. So this is how the material world is now. The Kali Yuga. So he goes to the forest. So while looking at him, so Narada came to help his Dhruva Maharaj. He is very sincere to attain the mercy of the Lord. So at that time Narada comes and there's a huge discussion happens between Narada and Dhruva Maharaj. So 4th canto, chapter 8 in description. From 27 onwards, there is a description. So Narada is telling, the great sage Maitreya, 26th words, after being worshipped and honored by the boy Dhruva Maharaj, and after offering obeisance Lord Vishnu on the back Garuda, okay, this chapter 9, this is chapter 8. I open chapter 9. We can also go through those verses. 27, 4, 27. The great sage Narada told to Dhruva, my dear boy, you're only little boy whose attachment is to sports and other frivolities. Why are you so affected by words of insulting of your honor? My dear Dhruva, if you feel that your sense of honor has been insulted, you still have no cause for dissatisfaction. This kind of dissatisfaction is another feature of the illusion energy. Every living entity is controlled by the previous actions. And therefore, there are different varieties of life for enjoying and suffering. So basically, in these few verses, so in the purport, Prabhupada writes, by looking at the determination of Dhruva Maharaj, Lord Krishna personally sent Narada Muni to guide Dhruva Maharaj. He is very eager to get the mercy of the Lord. So in this way, if anyone is eager to know about the Lord, to get closer to the Lord, Lord Krishna will send a spiritual master in their life. In this way, Narada Muni is testing Dhruva Maharaj. Does he really want to attain the Lord or not? So he spoke little words like this. So after hearing these words, so Dhruva Maharaj is telling, verse number 35. My dear Lord Naradaji, for the person whose heart is disturbed by the material conditions of happiness and distress, whatever you have so kindly explained for attainment of peace in mind is certainly very good instruction. But as far as I am concerned, I am covered by ignorance. And this kind of philosophy does not touch my heart. My dear Lord, I am very impudent for not accepting your instruction. But this is not my fault. It is due to my having been born in a Kshatriya family. My stepmother Suruchi has pierced my heart with her harsh words. Therefore, your valuable instruction does not stand in my heart. So basically, one lesson to be understood. So if at all we are also disturbed in our mind, so that is the time when we cannot take the instructions of our superiors or the Shastra. So whenever we get some instructions, advices, at that time our mind is agitated. So what should we do? We should not take any decisions. We should not react to that. So let's become calm, stay for some time. So after some time, when our agitation reduces, then ponder about those instructions. So same thing is Dhruva Maharaj is telling. Now I cannot hear instructions. Please forgive me. And he's going forward. O Lanu Brahmana, I want to occupy a position more exalted than any yet achieved within the three worlds or by anyone, even by my father and grandfather. If you will oblige, kindly advise me of a honest path to follow by which I can achieve the goal of my life. So basically, he's asking the instruction from the spiritual master. Please give me a path. How can I attain Krishna? So devotee or students also should be very inquisitive and ask questions to the spiritual master. And this should be the question to the spiritual master. So one should not ask, how can I get healthy? So for a spiritual master should not ask any material things. So to my spiritual master, there are many cases, it seems. I was hearing from our senior devotees. They go frequently to the spiritual master to ask some related family things. Guru Maharaj, my son has to go to school now. Which school do you prefer? And spiritual master is so merciful, they'll not tell anything. They'll also guide, okay, go. So later, the disciples tell me, please don't come to the spiritual master for asking these questions. Come for asking something spiritual. If you have any problem in spirituality, in your bhakti, then come. Don't ask these questions. So you should ask a spiritual master only the spiritual things. What is the spiritual things? How can I advance in devotional service? Please help me. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes in the verse number 37. Dhruva wanted to take advantage of Narada Muni's presence because he knew very well that if Narada Muni, the greatest devotee of Lord Krishna, could bless him or show him the path, then certainly he would be able to occupy a more exalted position than any person within the three worlds. But he has a complete faith on the spiritual master, since he's a pure devotee. So if he bestows his mercy, then the game is finished, done. So I can achieve whatever I want. So basically it's a material thing, but as sadhakas we should see. So if at all we want to advance in devotional service, the only way is by pleasing the spiritual master. So without pleasing the spiritual master, it is not possible to advance in devotional service. In various purports, Prabhupada writes the same point again and again. So in one of the purports in the previous class we have seen, so in one purport, Prabhupada writes, so one should not think whether one is going back home, back to Godhead or not. So a disciple's duty is to follow the instructions of the spiritual master. He has to take the instructions of the spiritual master as his life and soul. So whether he is going back home or not, that is the next business. Leave that. His business is to follow the instructions. So when the instructions are followed, when we attain the mercy of the Lord, then the job is done. His life is successful. Text 38. My dear Lord, you are a worthy son of Lord Brahma, and you travel playing on your musical instrument, the veena, for the welfare of the entire universe. You are like the sun, which rotates in the universe for the benefit of all living entities. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes, last two lines. Dhruva Maharaj was strongly determined to fulfill his desire. And it was for that purpose that he had left his home and palace. So similarly, as sadhakas, we also have some difficulties in coming out of our material attachments. Then how to come out of it? So Prabhupada is writing. He's strongly determined to fulfill his desire. So basically, a devotee should have a higher goal in life. If there is some higher goal in life, so all the material attachments can be reduced. So what is the ultimate goal of life of every sadhaka, every devotee? Is to attain Krishna Prema. And that is what we tell early in the morning. We tell from the heart or from the mouth, we don't know. So if we should have some higher goals in life. Of course, the ultimate goal is to attain Krishna Prema for sure. But to attain that, it's very difficult. So similarly, I'm trying to repeat the same thing for my benefit in various classes. So we should have some goals, spiritual goals in life, short-term goals, mid-term goals, higher goals, or long-term goals. So please tell me, what are the spiritual goals we can adopt or can have in life, so that we can not get distracted with this material desires. Spiritual goals. So that is short term, mid term, or long term? That is ultimate, yes. Same something. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, some devotees have this goal. So within next 2-3 years, I want to finish Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, how do you feel? Now we'll make the whole chart. We'll make the schedule. So how much time should I invest? Now we have 18,000 slokas. Now we're in third canto. So how many slokas left? How many cantos left? If at all I want to finish this in 2 years, how much time should I invest? So per day, how many chapters, how many slokas should I finish? So in this way, the mind is completely engaged. So we'll make a plan. So now we have a goal to achieve it. Yes. So when we have a goal to achieve it, so what happens? Every time we'll keep thinking. So today I have finished 10 slokas. But tomorrow there is festival. I have to go. I have to participate in Gaur Purnima festival. Now I cannot find the time now. Not tomorrow, March 3rd. So coming up. Now Saturday I have to give class. Sunday I have to go for outreach. So the mind is completely engaged in planning it. So today I could only finish only 10 slokas. But my target is 25 slokas. So I could finish only 10. Then tomorrow, so I should be able to finish the 10 slokas of tomorrow's quote and also 15 slokas which are remaining before. So in this way, mind is completely engaged. So if I want to finish this particular thing, even though there are allurements coming in our mind, distractions coming in our mind, so we have this goal, no. I want to finish this, I want to finish this. So mind is engaged in this way. So in this way, if we have some higher goals in life, spiritual, of course, ultimate goal is that, to attain Krishna Prema. To attain that, we should have some spiritual goals like this small, so that our mind will be engaged very nicely. So we'll not get distracted or allured by the material things. And this will really help for every devotee. Every devotee will help. So finishing Bhagavatam. So it's personally sadhana. Next, another thing, for preaching. So for preaching, what targets we can have, what goals we can have. All of project managers here. For kitchen also we can have a target. Now we have one YFFL here in Marathal. We can expand more. Okay, full-time devotees. So, yes. So what's your target? How many full-time devotees we are going to make in time? So there should be time period, right? Hari Bol Jai. So Prabhu has a very intense desire. So within the next 5-6 years, want to get 50-60 brahmacharis, full-time devotees, dedicated souls. Yes. So mind is engaged now. How to invest time? How to get these brahmachari full-time devotees in the temple? So if the mind is engaged basically in this way, if you have some higher spiritual goals, so mind will not be distracted with the material stuffs, material things. And this is what a sadhaka generally faces a difficulty in advancement. So it's a really nice goal to advance in spiritual life. But still, because of this material infections, material desires, past samskaras are very nice. They keep up coming again and again. And will pull a sadhaka down again. So at that time, if you don't have any goal in life like this, so the sadhaka is easily prone to fall down again and again. So if it doesn't have any goal, what happens? He feels that I want to advance in bhakti, but I'm not able to advance because of material attachments. So what happens? Since he's not able to see any advancement, he gets demotivated. And what's next? He'll leave the path of bhakti. Brahmanda Brahmite kono bhagyavan jeev Guru Krishna prasade pai bhakti lata bich. So after going through all the planetary systems in the universe number of times, one fortunate person will get the mercy of Guru and Krishna and get the path of devotion service. And after getting it, after practicing it, after practice for a long time, leaving your bhakti, can you think what is the position of a devotee sadhaka here? So it's important to see the difference in life, to see some transformation in the path of bhakti. If a sadhaka is just stagnant like that, if he's not able to see any advancement, no transformation in life, he'll be demotivated automatically, for sure. Maybe he takes another path or he will leave the bhakti. So that's why it's important for a devotee to see realizations, or basically you should be able to see some advancement in life. Initially we see some advancement, 2 rounds, 4 rounds chanting, 16 rounds I'm able to read, preach, but what next? So same activities everyone does. So after few years in Krishna consciousness I'm able to observe. So those devotees who come after 5-6 years, I passed 10 years, he passed 6 years. So after that both are we both are doing the same thing. He is also giving class, I am also giving class. He is also chanting, I am also chanting. Everything is same. So what is the difference? Where are the realizations? Where is the advancement? Do you have the taste for Krishna consciousness? So at least initially to get the taste, basically you have to cut down the sense gratification. So that is what in the future versus Narada instructs. So to cut down the sense gratification, not to get distracted from sense gratification, means one should have some spiritual goals in life. So whichever position we are in, either preaching, sadhaka, pujari, whatever, some spiritual goals we can frame it, plan for it, and have a target of very less time, say a long time. Within 20 years, I'll try to open 2 centers. What's big thing in it? Anyone can open. Well, let's have a target. Within 2 years, I want to open 2 centers. Good target. Or even more that. So you have some these targets like this. So even though if we get some sense gratification desires, because of this target, spiritual goals will not be distracted. And that's what Prabhupada is writing in this purport. Next. So after understanding the determined goal of Dhruva Maharaj, so Narada is satisfied with his determination and he started instructing Dhruva Maharaj from verse number 54. So in verse number 54, so Narada Muni initiates Dhruva Maharaj with the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and he gives instruction. So this is the 12-syllable mantra for worshipping Lord Krishna. So one should install the physical forms of the Lord, and with the chanting of the mantra, one should offer flowers and fruits and other varieties of foodstuffs, exactly according to rules and regulations prescribed by the authorities. But this should not be done, but this should be done in consideration of place, time, and attendant conveniences and inconvenience. So now Srila Prabhupada gets in the purport one important aspect, philosophical aspect, in social customs in India at least. So you see, Narada is a Brahmana. Of course, he's not a Brahmana, he's a pure devotee of the Lord. He's a Brahmana. But Dhruva Maharaj is a Kshatriya. So both are in different caste. Some caste Brahmanas, they say, so one cannot take initiation, one cannot chant the mantras of the Vedas until unless he's a Brahmana. So if he takes birth as a Brahmana in the next life, only then he can chant or take the Vedic mantras. So this is what the caste Brahmanas tell this. But it's completely refuted here. So Dhruva Maharaj is actually Kshatriya. How is he getting a mantra from the Brahmana and chanting? So it's given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in this way we can prove that so anyone can practice devotion service. There is no restriction, there is no qualification. And that is what even Srila Prabhupada has proven when he went to the West. So where all the people are completely hippies, completely sinful. But Prabhupada gave the Hare Krishna mantra, initiated them, and made them Brahmanas. Even beyond Brahmanas, they became Vaishnavas. So anyone can practice devotion service. So there is no restriction for this. So Lord Chaitanya recommends that his name should be heard in every nook and corner of the world. How is this possible unless one preaches everywhere? The cult of Lord Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu, is Bhagavata Dharma. And he especially recommends Krishna Katha, or the cult of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna Katha means both Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. He recommends that every Indian, considering this task to be the para upakar or welfare activity, take the Lord's message to other residents of the world. Other residents of the world does not refer only to those or exactly like the Indian Brahmanas or Kshatriyas or like the caste Brahmanas who claim to be the Brahmanas because they were born in the family of Brahmanas. The principle that only Indians and Hindus should be brought in the Vaishnava cult is a mistaken idea. There should be propaganda to bring everyone to the Vaishnava cult. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant for this purpose. There is no bar to propagating the Krishna consciousness movement, even among people who are born in Chandala, Malecha, and Yavanam. So basically, the point is, so there is no qualification for anyone to take up bhakti. So anyone can take up the bhakti. So from verse number 55 onwards, he starts giving the instructions. So 54 onwards. So he gives various instructions, what and all to be done. So what is the type of devotions? One should worship the Lord by offering pure water, pure flower garland, fruits, flowers, and vegetables which are available in the forest, or by collecting newly grown grasses, small buds of flowers, or even the skins of trees. And if possible, by offering tulsi leaves, which are very dear to the Supreme Personality. Got it? So tulsi leaves are very, very dear to the Lord. And hope all of us following the parampara, every day offering tulsi leaves to the Lord. And 60th verse, 59, 60. So how to do the devotional service? What is the mood? What is attitude? So Narada is telling you. Anyone who thus engages in the devotional service of the Lord seriously and sincerely with his mind, words, and body, and who is fixed in the activities of the prescribed devotional methods, is blessed by the Lord according to his desire. So basically, Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. Said most of the time, as full-time devotees, so you're trying our best to engage our body in the service of the Lord. But the question is, where is my mind thinking about? So what is my thought process? So that is a contemplation to be done. Body is engaged in the devotional service, but where is the mind? I am doing this devotional service for pleasure of myself or for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. So in this way, so Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. So all the three things, basically one's existence should be engaged in the service of the Lord, sincerely and seriously. And what is the definition of seriousness? So when His Grace Prabhupada's disciple who gives japa sessions, Burijan Prabhu. So when he came here, so he gave the definition of sincerity. Sincerity means the desire to attain the Lord, and no other desire should be there. So that is called sincerity. So with that sincere mood, one should engage in the service of the Lord, Kaya, Vacha, and Manasa, with the words, mind, and body. And then 61st verse is telling, if one is very serious about liberation, he must stick to the process of transcendental loving service, engaging 24 hours a day in the highest stage of ecstasy. And he must certainly be aloof from all activities of sense gratification. So how to come out of the sense gratification, which we discussed few minutes before. So one should have a higher goal in life, so that can practically help a devotee to come out of this sense gratification tendency. Then it is called devotional service. So in this particular pastime we see, so Dhruva Maharaj having some material desire in the heart, but still is praying to the Lord. So Bhagavatam also says, so even though you have material desires, no problem. Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udarihiri tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whichever desire you have, you may have material desire, liberation desire, even if you don't have any desires, but we should render service to the Lord. We have to worship the Lord with intense bhakti. We have to do the devotional service intensely. So what happens if I also have desire? If I don't have desire, why should I want intensely serve the Lord, do devotional service? That we'll see at the last. So what happens if so? So as told, so as instructed by Narada Muni, so Dhruva follow all the instructions, does all the austerities. So with these austerities, by pleasing with him, so Lord appears in front of Dhruva Maharaj. So that's description is given in the next sloka, next chapter, chapter 9. The form of the Lord, text 2. The form of the Lord, which was brilliant like lightning, and in which Dhruva Maharaj, in his mature yogi process, was fully absorbed in meditation, all of a sudden disappeared. Basically, Dhruva Maharaj is able to meditate on the form of the Lord within his heart. And suddenly that form got disappeared from his heart. But as soon as he opened his eyes, he saw the Supreme Personality got personally present. Just he has been seeing the Lord in his heart. The same form is just manifested in front of the eyes of Dhruva Maharaj. Now Lord has manifested personally in front of Dhruva Maharaj. Now what else he wants? That is what he's wanting. And what happened next? What is the reaction of Dhruva Maharaj? So you can see in that verse 3. So when Dhruva Maharaj saw his Lord just in front of him, he was greatly agitated and offered him obeisances and respect. He fell flat before him like a rod and became absorbed in love of Godhead. Dhruva Maharaj in ecstasy looked upon the Lord as if he were drinking the Lord with his eyes, kissing the lotus feet of the Lord with his mouth, and embracing the Lord with his arms. He was very attracted to the beautiful form of the Lord. Now, Dhruva Maharaj wants to offer some prayers to the Lord. But Dhruva Maharaj is a 5-year-old boy. He don't know any prayers. So looking at his face, he wants to offer prayers. What Lord does? He took his conch shell and touches the head of Dhruva. So by that, Dhruva Maharaj offers various wonderful prayers. So few verses comes in the wonderful prayers. Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Various things he mentions. So when the Lord asked, "Oh Dhruva, you worship me with so determinedly. You achieved me also now. Now tell me, what do you want?" Now Dhruva is telling. Please repeat. Sthanabhilashi tapasi stitoham Tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam Kachan vichinvan api drivya ratnam Swamin kritatosmi varam nayache. So Dhruva is telling this sloka. Oh Lord, I have gotten you. What else do I need? Divya Ratnam, I have got the greatest jewel like you. And I am desiring for the small pieces, broken glasses. I don't want anything. Now Dhruva Maharaj completely purified by the process of devotional service and by the darshan of the Lord. So he came with the material desire to worship the Lord. But after getting the mercy of the Lord, after looking at the Lord, all the desires got completely vanquished. He was completely purified at the heart. So this is why the sloka is mentioned. Akama sarva kamava moksha kama udari tivrena bhakti yogena yajiti purusham. So whichever desire you have, just worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that what happens by doing the process of bhakti, you will be completely purified. So later we will not like to have any desire. Now one may ask a question, if I worship the Lord, now I have material desires, I'm worshipping the Lord, now I heard now Lord comes, now I lose all the desires. Then what do we done now? I lose the sense gratification also. Now I'll not get what I want. So Lord is telling, no, I'll give you. So from verse number 20 to 21, so Lord's benedicting him. So he's giving his benedictions to Dhruva after he offering his prayers. The Supreme Personality of Godhead continued, "My dear Dhruva, I shall award you the glowing planet known as the pole star, which we are discussing about. Pole star, which will continue to exist even after the dissolution at the end of millennium. So even after the dissolution, this planet still remains, Dhruvaloka. No one has ever ruled this planet, which is surrounded by all the solar planets, solar systems, planets, and stars. All the luminaries in the sky circumambulated this planet, just as bulls tread around a central pole for the purpose of crushing grains, which we are seeing now. Keeping the pole star to their right, all the stars inhabited by the great sages like Dharma, Agni, Kashyapa, and Shukra circumambulate this planet, which continues to exist even after dissolution of all others. So in this way, so Lord benedicted him so that you will get this particular planet and you will rule for the certain thousands of years. And he predicted also, Lord tells what happens in the future later. So after your father goes away to the forest and awards you the rule of his kingdom, you will rule continuously entire world for 36,000 years. And all your senses will continue to be as strong as they are now. You will never become old. Lord Krishna is benedicting him. So after Lord gives his benedictions and Lord disappears, so he's going back to home, to his kingdom. So while going, so Dhruv Maharaj is in a mood of displeased. And so he's frustrated. He's not happy. So why he's not happy? The prayer which he did. So Lord is there completely. I am attaining the Lord. So great sages in future verses it comes. Even the great sages like Sananda, all the four Kumaras. So they attained the Lord after many years, many lifetimes. But I could attain the Lord within 6 months. But still, I have asked some material thing of this world. So an important lesson is, even though we attain the Lord, after having this material desires, our devotee will not be pleased. So if you see many devotees also having this mood. So basically, if we have this material desire and approach the Lord, our devotee is not satisfied. He will not be satisfied. Because a living entity is satisfied is by only rendering pure devotion service. So that is what the Bhagavatam says, first canto, chapter 2, verse number 6. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahaitu giya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. Ahaituki apratihata. So one should worship the adokshaja without any motive. Ahaituki, without any motive in the heart. And apratihata, 24 hours. So if one worships the Lord in this way, then suprasidati happens. His heart is completely satisfied. So that's why there should not be even a single tinge of material desire in the heart of a living entity to get that complete satisfaction. But if there is even small tinge of material desire, he cannot be happy. And Dhruv Maharaj is the example here. She attained the Lord, but she is feeling the dissatisfaction in the heart while going back to the whole description comes in the next few verses. He is not satisfied. I have attained the Lord, but what is the use? I have asked it for something material which is useless. So very important for all the devotee sadhakas to cultivate this desire of pure devotional service. I just want to render pure devotional service to the Lord, just to please Him. I don't want anything in my life. But only motive is just to please Guru and Krishna. And that is what all parampara is showing us. So Rupa Goswami tells, Anya vilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukulene Krishna anushilaram bhaktir uttama. That is uttama bhakti. Serving the Lord without any material desires. For the pleasure of the Lord, as told by the acharyas. So this is the whole purpose of whole Bhagavatam. Our devotee should come to this platform of rendering pure devotion service. In fact, the whole Bhagavatam is about this. So how great devotees offer their prayers to the Lord and how they become pure devotees. So until unless one becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, life is unsuccessful. So one should become pure devotee. That is the ultimate goal of life, to become a pure devotee of the Lord. And if this goal is not achieved, then the life is completely unsuccessful. So in this way, Dhruv Maharaj becomes pure devotee and the whole pastime happens. So at the end of his life, 4th canto, chapter 12. So how Dhruv Maharaj is going back home, back to Godhead, it's mentioned. So in the airplane, Nanda and Sunanda, the associates of the Lord, comes to take Dhruv Maharaj back. The 12th chapter whole description is about this. 4:12:35 it's described. Before getting aboard, Dhruv Maharaj worshipped the airplanes, circumambulated it, and also offered obeisances to the associates of Vishnu, that is Nanda and Sunanda. In the meantime, he became as brilliant, as illuminating as molten gold. He was thus completely prepared to board the transcendental plane. While boarding the Vaikuntha airplane, his body changed to a completely spiritual golden hue. No one can surpass the higher planets in a material body, which we discussed, you can see. But when one gets the spiritual body, he can travel not only to the higher planet system of this material world, but even to the still higher planetary systems known as Vaikuntha Loka. It is well known that Narada Muni travels everywhere, both in the spiritual and material worlds. While Dhruva Maharaj was passing through the space, he gradually saw all the planets of the solar system. So, which we seen, all the planets Dhruva Maharaj is able to see while going on the airplane. And on the path, he saw all the demigods in their airplanes showering flowers upon him like rain. Dhruva Maharaj thus surpassed the 7 planetary systems of the great sages who are known as Saptarishis. Beyond that region, he achieved the transcendental situation of permanent life in the planet where Lord Vishnu lives, that is Dhruvaloka or poster. So, because he becoming a pure devotee of the Lord, so Krishna has given him that great position. Even the great demigods, Saptarishis, all are surrounding, doing pradakshina to this poster where Dhruva Maharaj resides. So that is why Lord Krishna gives such a great position to his devotees if they completely pure, even though they don't want it. Okay. So with this, I would like to conclude my discussion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.